Hey everyone, it's Steph, and today I'm here to talk about the top 3 conventions that I would recommend on the US Pacific West Coast. Before I specifically jump into what those conventions would be, I wanted to touch on a couple of things regarding my background in this field. I have been attending anime conventions since 2006, which means it's been about 13 years now that I've been attending conventions. The conventions that I attend are primarily anime conventions, but in recent years I have attended some Comic-Con conventions, which are a little bit different from anime conventions. And the opinions that I'm going to be sharing in this video, of course, are just my own from my own experience, and a lot of that is very dependent on what you yourself enjoy. So things that I enjoy might not necessarily be the same things that you enjoy when you're at conventions. For example, I'm a cosplayer, so a lot of what makes a con fun for me are shoot locations around the convention that might not matter to other people, getting cool shots, meeting cool photographers, meeting other cool cosplayers, whereas some people might be more interested in something like panels, which is something that I personally don't attend very often. Another big thing to take into consideration as well is that I primarily have spent most of my life around the California Bay Area, so I'm most familiar with the NorCal con cosplay community, so I don't have as much experience when it comes to conventions that are in the Pacific Northwest or in Southern California. The conventions that I would be recommending are the ones that I have been to. If you have attended a really great convention that isn't mentioned on something that I recommend, please feel free to leave a comment down below about that convention, even if it's not on the west coast of the United States. Any convention recommendations down below would be awesome. Let me know what you think is great, and hopefully one day I can check out that convention. So we're gonna start this list off with what I think is the pinnacle of anime conventions, at least in my experience, and that would have to be FanimeCon, which is a convention that is located in San Jose, California. I started attending that convention in 2009, and this year marked the 10th consecutive year that I have attended. A lot of reasons that this con is great is that it has strengths in pretty much every area that you could want. They have a lot of panels, they have a lot of great locations, attendance is high, the con is fairly well organized. Of course, there are a couple hiccups here and there, but overall, it's a pretty well-ran convention. There's a lot of good food options nearby, and there's a lot of great hotels nearby as well that make it a fairly accessible con for everyone. One of my favorite things that sets this convention apart from all the other ones is that it's a 24-hour convention, which means that if it's 3 in the morning and you feel like playing some video games, you can head on over to the gaming hall and it'll still be open for you to hang out. No matter what time you wake up or go to bed, there's always something that FanimeCon has to offer. And the nice thing is that the location supports this as well, if that makes sense. There's a lot of really great late night food options as well, and I think overall there's so many more things that I could go into detail about FanimeCon itself that make it the greatest convention that I've attended, but I'll just leave it at that for now. Overall, really strong convention. Second, very close second honestly, would be SoccerCon, which is located up in Seattle, Washington. Size-wise, I would say that SoccerCon and FanimeCon are fairly similar. They're both decently large-sized cons, but not overwhelmingly huge. They're also well-populated, but not necessarily overcrowded and not feeling quite too empty either. There's a good energy level and atmosphere present at both conventions. What SoccerCon that's different from a lot of other conventions is that it's pretty much just up the street from Pike Place. So the cool thing about SoccerCon is that you get to experience this wonderful anime convention at probably my favorite convention center that I've attended, SoccerCon. But if you don't feel like doing anything related to the con, you can literally just walk down the street a couple of blocks and wind up at Pike's Place to do some sightseeing. Or if you're like me, I like to schedule a couple extra days after the convention to get a bit of a cheaper flight and split a hotel room with some friends to spend a couple days sightseeing around Seattle. Like FanimeCon, I believe SoccerCon also has a lot of really great food options as well as a lot of great shoot locations for cosplayers. They also offer a wide variety of events for attendees, and one of them that was pointed out to me that I didn't know was that they have a free concert for their attendees as well, so they don't charge anything extra for the concerts that they have, I believe, every year. These two, honestly, I would say are probably the most shining examples of what an anime convention feels like. There's a lot of people and there's a lot of hustle and bustle, but I generally get the sense of welcoming and fun there, and they have a lot of great variety of activities that you can do as well to celebrate your fandom or find other friends. Third on my list of the top 3 that I would recommend was a little difficult to pick, but I ultimately settled on Anime Los Angeles, which, even though it's called Anime Los Angeles, has been moved to Ontario, California. So like the previous 2 conventions, the one thing that sets ALA apart from other conventions is that ALA has this thing that I generally call ribbon culture. This is something that has spread to a couple other conventions, but as far as I've seen at other conventions, ALA is the only convention that does it really consistently and has it integrated into the convention itself. Basically, all it is that regular attendees like you and me order ribbons of whatever we want for whatever reason and give them out to other people. A lot of people tend to make little games out of it, so if you make a ribbon for a specific fandom like My Hero Academia, for example, you decide how you want to give out your ribbons. You can give out ribbons to every My Hero Academia character you see. I heard about a Pokemon ribbon game where people were dressed as certain trainers and you had to go track down the trainers and collect specific ribbons dependent on the types of Pokemons that were on the ribbons that they would give you. There's so many different ideas for ribbons that people make, and overall it basically creates this very friendly atmosphere because one, it's a really great topic that you can talk about with pretty much everybody that attends ALA because everyone is pretty much a part of it. Two, it's something that's super fun that you can do that you don't need friends necessarily to do this with. You can walk around the convention by yourself if you wanted to play this game. If you have nothing to do, there's always ribbon collecting. It's essentially a great fallback that ALA has integrated into the convention itself to the point where you can go to the help desk and if you say the right things, you can get a ribbon. You could go to Cosplay Repair and get a ribbon. I believe they also have, I want to say vending machines or like gacha machines, but they have machines where you can also buy ribbons if you don't want to spend the time looking for them or trading them, and if you just wanted to get some that were donated to ALA. So those are the top 3 conventions that I would recommend. There are so many other conventions that I didn't even get near touching on because I would classify them as something separate, such as Crunchyroll Expo and Anime Expo. Those I would actually call industry conventions, and I'll make another video about them later, as well as comic conventions such as San Diego Comic-Con or Emerald City Comic-Con or Silicon Valley Comic-Con or the younger sibling sort of con of SDCC WonderCon. But I can make another video discussing those conventions. On top of that, there are so many other conventions that I still have not yet attended on the West Coast. So like I mentioned earlier, if there are any other conventions that you would recommend that I have not discussed, let me know in the comments down below what conventions you think I should check out. Hopefully, if you've never been to a convention before on the West Coast and you're debating which one to go to, I've convinced you to go to one of the top 3 because I promise you will not regret it. If you are new here and you'd like to see more content like this or related to other things, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you did enjoy what I talked about in this video, make sure to give me a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.